I'm Leonard Elijah Shemtob,
And I'm Amir Araghi.
and we are the Conscious Cup.
Podcast.
Just as many of us drink coffee to get through our day, the Conscious Cup podcast is about filling your soul with the guiding light of energy to navigate you through your week. And on today's show, we'll be talking about the prophet. We also will go through the grind where we talk about upcoming events in the spiritual community. Then to filling your cup, the main topic, which is the prophet. To what's brewing, where we take a peek into global consciousness. And finally, to spill the beans, where we discuss our weekly spiritual task that involves both you and us and our personal reflection on them. So with that, we ask you, what are you filling your spiritual cup with? Welcome back.
Welcome back.
And welcome back, Amir.
Yes. Welcome back. How was the week?
The week has been good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of fun stuff.
It's nice. Summer's in full force. I'm loving it. I like it.
I think
Weather's warmer. A little humidity though.
A little 90 degrees around me, and in the valley around 100.
Valley is getting there. West Valley in particular, but it's been good. Listen, we've had a wonderful weather year so far. Lots of rain, relatively mild summer so far.
That's very subjective.
Feels good. It feels good.
Anyway,
it's
enough
nice
about the
day.
weather.
Yes.
Let's talk about it. Let's get right into it. Let's get into the grind.
We're hopping right away, huh?
Yeah, I mean, enough pleasantries.
Yeah.
I think we have enough pleasantries here.
Leonard's not a fan of the weather talk.
Weather. I mean, that's like when you have nothing to talk about, you talk about the weather with people. It's like, so it's a good weather day today, huh? What do you think? It's hot, sunny, humid. It's like. So.
By the way, shout out to Dallas Raines. If you ever watched this, that was like my favorite weatherman. Did you ever watch
Dallas
him growing
Raines? Is that really his name?
Yeah,
I mean, that's the most perfect weather name
exactly
ever.
why,
What's your name? I'm on Dallas News, and my name is Dallas Raines.
Dallas Raines. He was awesome. I think he's still on. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't watched. He was on
I don't
Channel
watch the news.
7 though, but he was awesome growing up. He was the man.
What do you have in your
Dallas
cup
Raines.
today? Tell us about your cup.
The cup is the man, the myth, the legend, Mr.
Araghi Shemtob.
Mr. Shemtob, aka Leonard's amazing
My
father.
dad is there. Shout out to Coco for buying me that cup, surprising me with that cup.
Yes.
Many people come over and think that's Pablo, but it's not. It's my dad. The large firing arm in his hand, so big it doesn't fit in the picture. The gun is actually cut off.
Over hither.
Yeah. And there's the originals up there, and look how big it is. It's still cut off.
Yeah, that thing is what? It's got to be close to
6 feet.
Yeah. That's amazing. So
Oh, this is what we use in Iran to, target practice.
for the dove.
Tir andozi. Anyway, and what's inside the cup? What are you filling your cup with?
Chicory, right? Is
That's
that
right. We're drinking
Yeah.
chicory today. Compliments
Yes.
of my mother.
Yes. That is awesome. She is here with us in a way of
She is.
spirit, right?
Yes.
But I think this is my second time trying this, but the smell is so good.
Ooh, that
whatever
smell.
this it's kind of chocolatey.
I don't like chicory. I just like the smell of it.
Yeah. I think his chicory has a little extra. Speaking of chicory,
Oh my God, this show is too much.
Chicory reminds you of
Conscious
what name?
cup. We're getting too comfortable here. We don't
Chicory.
even know that you guys are watching. We're just having a conversation, and you just happen to be here. At this point, whatever episode this is now, what are we on? 15 or something?
14. I think.
14,
Tonight's
so
14. Lucky number.
At this
14.
point, we've become very comfortable, and we just kind of just talk and chat, and it just happens to be that it's recorded. So
that was kind of our.
Yes.
This is so yummy. Oh my
chicory,
God.
try it.
Yes. All right, let's actually get into
let's get into
the
it.
grind. Let's
The
get into
grind.
the grind. Not a whole lot this going on. Summer seems to be relatively, like we said, in full swing. So just another reminder that the series on the deep discussions is coming up August 6th. We are doing it at Yolanda's house. Thank you to Yolanda.
Thank you, Yolanda.
Appreciate that. The purpose of this, as we've mentioned before, is a gathering community to further harmonize and be able to really dive in deeply. The classes I do are about 2 hours, 2.5 hours or so. But it is often, as interesting as it might sound, but I'm sure it'll resonate. Whenever you're in deep discussion, 2 hours flies by. So the point of these is to really be able to heavily dive into something, have both depth and breadth on the topic. And so we're getting together from about 9:30 till 3 p.m. So
Yeah, I'm
really
cutting out my
nice
yoga
time.
for this,
Yes.
and that's a big deal.
Yeah. If maybe you got to bring the mat and just do it in the corner while we're chatting.
No, I'm no good without my teacher.
Yeah. But no, it should be fantastic. Sunday, August 6th.
I'm looking forward to it. I'll be there, guys. I will be there.
Yes. Be there or
Be not there.
not what I was
square.
going. Yes.
Well, no, you're not square.
yeah.
But we would love you to be there. I'm excited to come. I'm glad that Amir's doing this. It sounds wonderful. It's inexpensive. Great way to harmonize and galvanize. And speaking of harmonizing and galvanizing, hit that like button.
Yes.
Hit that subscribe button and leave a comment. I know many of you are starting to leave comments, and we're grateful for it. But it's
Yes.
still not enough.
Tell us. Do you want us to talk about weather at the beginning of each?
We're going to set up a telethon. We're going to set up a telethon where we call you to get your comments, and we'll write them down for you. And we'll act like, we're going to do a telethon, commenting telethon.
We're up
like
to
back in the
7
80s.
comments. We're up to 7 comments. I mean, what's the grand total?
At 8, we can feed Mike in the back.
Yeah, we'll get enough money to pay the editor with 14 likes.
The editor has not been paid. He's getting disgruntled. His computer's falling apart. He's been asking for a new hard drive for 15 episodes.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they're gonna think these are Irish coffees at this point. So they're not. We promise you.
This chicory is like 4 years old. It might be foul.
Might be. Hey, look, it tastes good. Whatever it is, I'm down with this. But yeah, very brief on that level. It's funny, I was when I said be there.
It's funny for sure.
When I was saying be there or be square.
Yes.
What's the topic? Do you remember what the topic of this is? Of the Sunday get together this time?
Something with a shape.
Breaking limitation, which
Breaking
is
limitation.
The shape of a square.
That's
so
right.
It is, in a way, be there or be square.
It's a bit of a
actually
stretch. I'm just
legitimately
stretching, but it's
applies.
okay. It's a stretch, but we'll go with it. We'll let
Four
it
is
go.
limitation.
Judges, ding. We'll let it go.
There we go.
All right.
It's approved.
Are we ready to go on to filling your cup, the main topic, the prophet?
Yes.
Okay. So, in today's episode, we're embarking on a journey through time and philosophy, led by wisdom of the most revered literary figures in the 20th century, Khalil Gibran,
Yes.
and his masterpiece, The Prophet. Now, for those who have read it, awesome, you're amazing. This is a refresher. For those who haven't, this is a nice way to get the ball rolling and opening up your mind to the teachings of this book. It's a wonderful, wonderful story. Before we get into the story, we'll talk a little bit about the author. Khalil Gibran is a Lebanese-American poet, philosopher, and artist. Long captivated the audiences from all over, not just in his hometown. His spiritual perspectives are timeless. Now, this book was written over a century ago, but still has, still holds water
True,
now.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just like many of the gurus that we read from a century ago, or sometimes even thousands and thousands of years ago. Timeless information is timeless
That's right.
information. It's wisdom.
That's right.
This prophet, in my opinion, is more than a book. It's kind of like a compass for life. It's kind of like a poetry as well, in motion. So there's a story, there's poetry, there's wisdom. It's profound, and it covers various aspects of the human existence. So this voyage that we're going to do today together, all right, this voyage through the prophet, touches upon the book's most compelling teachings and distills them into insights that we can carry forward through our everyday life. And the teachings will be divided into 3 parts. Okay, but we need to go into all that. I'm just going to get right into it. Okay, so sit back, relax, and let's enjoy the wisdom.
Let's do it. I'm excited. I haven't read this book, so I'm getting a mini synopsis along with with everyone else tonight.
So let's set the stage for exploration on this voyage that we're taking. You guys like this? I'm doing a theme thing tonight. We're on a boat ride. Okay.
Master of the seas.
That's right. Master of the seas. A seaward man.
Yes.
Let's take the stage for exploration. The Prophet is a work of poetic prose, an exquisite blend of fiction and philosophy, set in the fictional town of Orphalese. Orphalese. I don't know if that's a reference to a real town. I'd be curious because sometimes they do that thing. They'll use names that are similar to something that actually exists, but because of government things and things like that, they won't actually put the real name in. So if you know more about it, or you know what Orphalese really is or what it refers to, I'd love to see it in the comments. See? Get you to make a comment. The story centers around Al-Mustafa. Al-Mustafa, okay? The so-called prophet who lived in the city of Orphalese for 12 years and for 7 years was held prisoner. Okay? He was prisoner for what? Spreading love and writing poetry and being a, truth sayer in those times. And, that's not allowed.
Yeah. Well, it's not in a lot of ways.
Exactly. So after 7 years, they said you can go home, and his journey, to go to the ship, he went from where they were holding him to where he was going to the port. On the eve of his departure, I'll just read the notes I have here. They're much better than my ramblings. On his eve of the departure, he engages in a profound conversation with townspeople, imparting his wisdom of various facets of life. Each dialogue, each teaching represents a chapter in the book. Okay. So he's got a chapter in the book for like love and marriage, children, giving, eating, drinking, work, joy, sorrow, crime and punishment, so much more. So each chapter is its own subject, and it's beautifully written.
Okay.
And so you can use it almost as a reference. Now, what I've done is I've chosen pieces of those, not every chapter, but many. I took a few that I thought were really important, and I took pieces of that, and I have the quotes, and I'm going to share the quotes with you guys, and we're going to discuss them. And in my opinion, it's like poetry. And my friend Amir here is a poet. He is also, some call him a prophet, but he's a poet as well. And I'm going to read the poetry, and we're going to get Amir's take on it.
Yeah.
And then we'll discuss it if need be.
Love it.
Okay.
Let's rock and roll. Very excited.
Okay. Let's start with the excerpt from the chapter on joy and sorrow. Joy and sorrow. Here we go. Your joy is your sorrow unmasked, and the self-same well from which your laughter arises, and oftentimes filled with your tears. And how else could it be? The deeper the sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain. It's not the cup that holds your wine. Is not the cup that holds your wine the very cup that was burned in the potter's oven? And it is not the lute that soothes your spirit, the very wood that is hollowed with knives? When you are joyous, look deep into your heart, and you shall find it only that which has given your sorrow that is giving you joy. When you are sorrowful, look again in your heart, and you shall see the truth. You are weeping for that which has been your delight.
That last one, can you read that one more time?
When you are sorrowful, look again in your heart, and you shall see that in truth you are weeping from that which has been your delight.
From a very deep perspective, yeah. I mean, I think that takes a significant amount of self-reflection and integration. But it is ultimately, right? I think that first line, what did you say? It's your
joy is your sorrow unmasked.
Yeah, that just resonates at a very high level. I think that's really, really beautiful. Because what is it? Sorrow is just a mask, right? It's just an illusion. Our baseline frequency is, you could make a very big argument that it is joy. This will come later, actually, in Spill the Beans. It's so synchronicities, by the way. I just gotta say.
This means you're on track.
Yeah. As we've said this many, many times, we don't know what the subject. This is Leonard's subject. I talked about a prophet before we started.
You did, and I didn't say anything. I just listened to him, and I said, "Well, he'll see when I write the topic. When we do the topic."
What's the topic? He's like, prophet. I'm like, what?
He thought I was kidding.
But yeah, I love that. Go ahead. I don't want to derail from that. I love that. I think that line is magnificent.
So first off, this is just a piece of the whole thing. Okay.
This is chapter 1.
This is a chapter of not sure the chapters on joy and sorrow. Okay. It might be chapter 2 or 3. But
that's fine. Yeah.
I don't recall exactly, but it's one of the earlier chapters, and it's just a paragraph. I'm just reading you a paragraph from that thing. It goes on further, and each paragraph can be taken in its own way and spent time with. Okay, and we don't have I can't do the whole book in whatever period of time that we do. These things are like an hour. I can't do the whole thing, and But what I'm going to do is touch on these things, and as long as you're taking something from it, taking one or two good meanings from each one of these things, you'll carry it with you, and you can also read it. There's a PDF on the internet as well, or buy the book, please.
Yeah.
But I wanted to bring up some aspect of it that was interesting because they say that greater the sinner, the greater the saint. Mm-hmm. And they use it like what do they call that? Dennis
Bow
the
and arrow.
Menace. No, Dennis the Menace. Slingshot.
A slingshot.
A slingshot. Like as you go further into darkness, you can go further into light.
Yeah.
So with this, that same place, that deepness in which you can go this way, you can also go that way, right? One who can go deep in multiple areas.
Right.
So you can go deep left, you can go deep right. And when you see the depth on this side, you can see the depth on that side, right? Like the creator actually created us so that he could view himself through the eyes that we see, right?
Right.
Now, what is that? What is he doing? He's creating a complete opposite to him. Finiteness, right? We're finite. Really, we're infinity, but we're finiteness in this body.
Right.
So that he could experience finiteness. The creator didn't know the experience of finiteness is infinity.
Right.
Creator's infinity, right? But he's able to experience finiteness, the concept of finality, of finiteness through us.
Right.
Right? This is the polars.
Which is itself. It is itself. It's just in this thing.
All right, so such are the profound paradoxes that Gibran explores, drawing us to reflect upon our own lives, our own joys, our own sorrows, our own love, and our own pain. Now, as we delve into these chapters, you'll notice a common thread of understanding, acceptance, love for the human condition that binds the teachings together, making the Prophet not just a book, but a guide for navigating life. And that's why a book like this can be read over and over again, because each time you go in, you'll get another thread. Okay?
Anything with wisdom, as you said at the beginning, with which wisdom, true wisdom, is timeless, and it will evolve as you evolve. There are wrinkles
The depth
and
of your
folds.
understanding will evolve as you evolve.
100%. Yeah.
Sorry to
It is-
interrupt.
No. It is because the underlying mechanism of the universe is reflectivity and perspective. And so as your space grows, as your perspective grows, you will begin to see things at a totally different level. You will read books that you will have read 4 times. The 5th time you read it, you go, how did I miss this?
That part.
How did I miss this? Where was I?
It's so key. I've done that. I've read books 5 years later, and I'm just like, this is a different book.
100%.
I'm a different person.
100%.
Really, it's the same words.
That-
All right, so now let's move on to love, marriage, and children. Okay? I'm sure some people listening have experienced all 3 of these things. Some of them just experienced one. Okay? Kind of goes in order. Love, marriage, and children. But here we go. And I believe that these teachings on love is a call to let love consume us and purify us. He says, or he writes, "For even as love crowns you, so shall he crucify you. Even as he is for your growth, so he is for your pruning. Even as he ascends to your height and caresses your tenderest branches that quiver in the sun, so shall he descend to your roots and shake them in their clinging to the earth. Like sheaves of corn he gathers you onto himself. He threshes you to make you naked. He sifts you to free you from the husks. He grinds you to whiteness. He kneads you until you're Pilent? Wow, I don't know what that word is. Leave a comment on that word. Pilant. No, pliant. Sorry.
Oh, pliant.
Pliant,
Yeah,
yes.
like pliable.
Yes, pliable, yes. I also have problems reading today. Okay. He kneads you until you're pliant, and then he assigns you to his sacred fire, that you may become sacred bread for God's sacred feast. All these things shall love do unto you, that you may know the secrets of your heart, and in that knowledge become the fragrant and a fragment of life's heart.
Interesting.
But if in your fear you would seek only love's peace and love's pleasure, then it is better for you that you cover your nakedness and pass out of love's threshing floor into the seasonless world where you shall laugh, but not all your laughter, and weep, but not all your tears. Love gives not but itself and takes not from itself. Love possesses not, nor would it be possessed, for love is sufficient unto love."
Yeah. The end of that really resonates with me because, again, episode 13 was all about love. And so I think that what I'm hearing from this, even though he's going into a lot of detail, is love just is. And it is all around in every which way, in every which manner. And the only way that you're not it is if you have fooled yourself to not be it. That's it.
Big. So, yes, I agree 100%. Also, I look at the way he described the love of what's happening with the corn is that love is a purifier. Love is a catalyst. Through your love that you seek, right? Like I want a relationship, for example. I want a relationship. When you go down those roads, having another person, a partner, a lover, right? This is about love, marriage, and children, right? And you have love, which is what you're talking about, the first segment. Second piece is marriage. Third is children. Mm-hmm. And through marriage and children, you now have a opposite person who you love, which you call love, and is a huge catalyst for you to grow, for you to be refined, for you to be purified in that love, for you to eventually learn the lessons of love that we talked about in episode 13.
Right.
Those are huge catalysts and opportunities for it. Further, you find out through that growth that love is not to possess. The idea of I'm looking for my person or you complete me or my better half doesn't exist anymore.
Doesn't exist. Yeah.
But that progression of distilling love and light through the catalysts that we face allow us to have that perspective. So he takes you on that ride in this beautiful couple paragraphs here to show you those things. You with me?
I think, if I'm being consistent with the language we used last week, is that it's almost the process of love with a lowercase l that grows and grows and grows, and it gets to that one, and it's through light. It is only through light that it gets there, but love just abounds. And it is interesting that he's taking this path because and I'm going to reference Bringers of the Dawn. Bringers of the Dawn says light is information. And by information, it does not mean, go and listen to this and this and that and gather information and go read science books and go read this and go read that. But by information, it truly means enlightenment, right? It is the rendering of the veil, the rendering of darkness, the rendering of anything that is not seen, not allowed for. And through that light, then, which again, we were talking about last week, and it's very, I think, related to this. I think the symbolism I'm seeing in it, the last one is children, right? Bringers of the Dawn calls love what?
Light.
Creation.
Oh, creation.
So when you are fully enlightened, you get to love, and love is where you create. And this love, in this language, is what? Birth, child, right? That is creation. That is creation. I don't have kids, but I do think that they are the most tangible version of our creation for us. That is living, breathing, reflects, gives to you, shines light on you, allows you to see yourself, and so you really become a creator mode on every level with the child.
Beautifully
That's
said.
awesome.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
These words speak to the freedom that love inherently seeks and the idea that love is not about ownership, but rather about appreciation and understanding. In the context of marriage, Gibran suggests that these two individuals are united in marriage, but they should still maintain their individuality. He writes, "You were born together." So this part now, he's basically passing through this on this ride. I'll pause here and give backdrop. He's heading from where he was held, this home, this like jail home, to the port. And on the way to the port, he's going through the town. And through the town, all these people are asking him questions. He's so loved in the town. They haven't seen him in 7 years. Mm-hmm. He's now passing through a wedding, and they ask him, "Can you make a speech?" And he says to the couple, "You were born together, and together you shall be evermore. You shall be together when the white wings of death scatter your days. Aye. You shall be together even in the silent memory of God. But let there be spaces in your togetherness, and let the winds of the heavens dance between you. Love one another, but make not a bond of love. Let it rather be a moving sea between the shores of your souls. Fill each other's cup, but don't drink not from one cup. Give one another of your bread, but eat not from the same loaf. Sing and dance together and be joyous, but let each one of you be alone, even as the strings of a lute are alone, though they quiver with the same music.
Beautiful.
Give your hearts, but not into each other's keeping, for only the hand of life can contain your hearts, and stand together, yet not too near together. For the pillars of the temple stand apart, and the oak tree and the cypress grow not in each other's shadow.
Very, very nice. Beautiful. Yeah, just that's really beautiful. And this is actually, it's funny because on the topic of marriage, a lot of people read this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people read this as, it's
As an officiant.
synchronicity. Yes. Talk about synchronicity is, this is a really beautiful part. I'm officiating 2 weddings this weekend and next wedding and next weekend. And this
Amir
is,
also does officiating. If you need an officiating,
yeah.
drop a comment. I may have to come just as a paper holder. I'm also an officiant. How about that? I'm also an officiant.
It's not very hard. 20 seconds on the internet.
But I've also used it, and I've
Yeah.
done some weddings. But anyway.
So this is very on that level. I want to quickly back up because the idea of marriage, it also resonates deeply in the ideas of numerology, in that as you are in oneness, where you move from one, you move into duality. And that stage of duality is that separation, is that illusion. And it takes a long time. It takes a long time. But when you are able to bring the two together, which would be, you and your partner, when those two come together, and the reason that it's usually bride and groom, right? The reason is because there's an energy behind that. It's your divine masculine and your divine feminine, truly. On the external, as everything becomes external, is when those two come together and they are able to go into a trinity, meaning the duality now moves back into a state of oneness. Immediately thereafter, what gets created? A new birth, a child. So it really resonates on that level for me too, that is on the level, it is speaking through that symbolism for us to understand that. And again, the process can be externally, but I think if we hear this and absorb it as an internal movement, it's so much more powerful on that level. Rumi says that, right? What you are seeking is seeking you. It's an internal vibration.
Beautiful.
Love it. Beautiful.
All right, going on to children. When it comes to children, he compares them to living arrows sent forth. He suggests that while parents may strive to be like them, they should not seek to make them like themselves. This is a call for respecting children's individuality and guiding them without imposing one's own desires or fears upon them.
Beautiful.
Yeah, he goes on to say that your children aren't yours. Says you may be the one who brought them through you, but they're not from you. And we know where they're from. We know what the child is. And then many people say the child is here to teach you. And I can tell you I've learned a ton from having a child. And if you haven't, I don't know how you could even exist. I mean, it's impossible not to learn. They teach you every day about yourself. Like you said, they're mirrors. So you really, really learn a lot from children. And yeah, it's very important not to put our fears and desires on our children. And many people do that. They put their fears and their desires on the child. The child turns 30 years old. He's a doctor, a lawyer. He's all these things that his parents told him he had to be. And he calls me and says, I'm miserable. I did everything that I thought I had to do to be happy, that my parents told me I needed to be happy. And I don't want to do any of this stuff anymore.
That's right.
And, and everyone has something, the scale is large of what that means and whatnot,
That's right.
but it happens. Loving, but again, even with the wife, right? It said, or your partner, it's like love, but not possess. It's like you love your child, but you don't have to possess them and say, this is what you have to do. And if you want my love, you have to follow my orders.
Yeah. Which is not love.
It's conditioned, very conditional.
It's not love.
And that messes up the child big time, because then he goes after that same thing and he treats his partner the same way. He brings his love forward only when he gets what he likes and what he desires, and takes his love away when it's not to his liking.
Which is a good reminder of the sovereignty energy and the responsibility energy going to the densities of consciousness, that you want to shift the world, be responsible and break that pattern. And once you do, it ripples and you literally become a maverick, right? You become a pathfinder in that vibration. And as you break that mold, you create a route that consciousness now has more access to.
Absolutely.
It has more resonance to. So break those. Who cares? So what? That was the choice that you made. You came in here, you absorbed all of those illusions, you absorbed all of those limitations, those beliefs, those separations. Wonderful. Do you know why you came? Because you can break them.
Yep.
I love that. Will you do me a favor? Can you read that beginning line about children? That was profound.
When it comes to children, he compares them to living arrows sent forth. He suggests that while parents may strive to be like them, they should not seek to make them like themselves.
Beautiful.
This is a call for respecting children's individuality and guiding them without imposing one's own desires or fears upon them.
Wonderful. Beautiful.
All right, now we're moving on to giving, work, joy, and sorrow. Giving, work, joy, and sorrow. The voyage continues. The voyage continues. The waters are getting a little rough and choppy, but it's okay. We have service in cart 4 coming around. There's a casino on level 2 if this is boring and you want to gamble. Okay? But the journey continues on giving, work, joy, and sorrow. He writes, "You give but little when you give of your possessions. It is when you give of yourself that you truly give. For what are your possessions but things you keep and guard for fear you may need them for tomorrow? There are those who give with joy, and that joy is their reward. And there are those who give with pain, and that pain is their baptism. And there are those who give and know not pain in giving, nor do they seek joy, nor give with mindfulness of virtue. They give as in yonder valley the myrtle breathes its fragrance into space. Through the hands of such as these gods speak, and form behind their eyes, he smiles upon the earth."
Just beautiful. I literally had this conversation last night. It's so incredibly powerful. My friend said to me, she said...
The one that said you're a prophet or no? She's
Yes.
awesome.
She said, "Do you feel a burden when someone says you're light?" And I said, "No." She goes, "What do you mean? Doesn't that mean you just have to keep shining?" And I asked her a very simple question. We were under a street light. I said, "Do you think that thing is burdening for you? Or is it just shining light? Do you think the sun gets up and says, 'Oh my God, this is going to be so difficult. I have to shine'?" No, it just shines. It just is what it is. There is no burden. You give because you're infinite. There is no, I want to give so I can feel better. I want to give because I know giving is a good route for me to reach enlightenment. No, that's conditional. It literally is doing the opposite of it.
Yeah.
And so the way that this said it, I was
That's
like in awe of that, because you just give. Just give. Why? There is no why. Just give. There's more of you. There's more of you. There's more of you. There's more. There's more.
In Judaism, there's different levels of mitzvah. A mitzvah is a good deed, for example, of giving. And the highest level of mitzvah is giving without any recognition or return, basically doing a secretively giving. Like
That's right.
someone sleeping and you put money under their pillow and they don't know it's yours. Like you give a donation anonymously and you don't get your name on the wall, you know? That's the highest form of mitzvah.
That's right.
Right? Because you're giving without any expectation or anything other than giving. I want to give, and that's all I want to do. I don't want anything in return. I don't want my name on the wall, a tax write-off. I don't want any receiving. It's solely giving. And he kind of talks about that here. You know, truly giving from your heart and not with the expectation of I'm doing it for pleasure.
That's
or
right.
I'm doing it because I'm begrudgingly. There's also giving begrudgingly.
Right.
Like, you have to give this.
Right.
Here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Or sometimes it's just a check the box for people, right? I did this.
Yeah.
Great. What's the next in the formulaic strategy? That
Okay.
Also, I just want to connect that really quick to in Iranian mysticism, and as it is in many, including American, including a lot of Western, it is the hero's journey, right? What is the difference between a hero and a champion? A champion wants to be a champion because it wants to be known. I won. A hero has absolutely no desire for recognition. It does it because it does it. Just that simple. That's a hero. The heroes that go and save people out of buses on being on a very, very material level even, right? That person's not doing it because their name's going to be on a newspaper. They're rushing into that fiery building to go rescue people
Right.
out of love and abundance.
Yeah.
It's not because
for
they're going
any
to be
reward.
given a
Yeah,
championship
exactly.
belt or a championship
They're actually
trophy.
risking their life for it too.
Selflessness is a
Yeah.
big part of love. Beautiful.
Now we're gonna head to work. So in this chapter on work, this excerpt I have here, Gibran glorifies work as a means of expressing love and a way to make our mark on the world. He says, "Work is love made visible. Work is love made visible. And if you cannot work with love, but only distaste, it is better that you should leave your work and sit at the gate of the temple and take alms of those who work with joy. For if you bake bread with indifference, you bake a bitter bread that feeds but half a man's hunger. And if you grudge the crushing of grapes, your grudge will distill a poison in the wine. And if you sing, though as angels, and love not the singing, you muffles man's ears to the voices of the day and the voices of the night."
Beautiful. That's gorgeous. That's so beautiful. He says, love is work, or work is love in motion. Is that what he
Work
says?
is love made visible.
Made visible. Beautiful. Light is love made visible. You are
Free
in
will
motion.
upon love is light.
It's beautiful. I love that. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, this is big.
Every word in that one can be broken down on so many levels. So many levels about that.
Right. If you grudge the crushing of the grapes, your grudge just is a poison in the wine. I had a friend of mine, an Indian guy, who's a very close friend of mine for 20 years now, and he was traveling from city to city at one point, and he went somewhere, and on the way there, he stopped there, and they said, "This person's going to make you food," and the food was fine in essence. There was nothing wrong with the food, like old or anything of that nature, but it was poisoned by the woman who made it. Her son had just passed, and she was so angry, and she put that anger into the food, and it made him and his friends so sick they puked all night.
Wow.
And she didn't puke from the food, but the energy carried
Yes.
into the food.
Unequivocally.
You know,
It's an old saying, but it really rings true when people say,
it's made with love.
it's made with love.
Yes.
It really is.
Yes.
It just
Taste. You can taste the difference.
you can
That's
taste
why
it.
people love mom's home cooking.
Yeah.
That's why nothing compares to mom's home cooking, because
That's right.
she made it with love for you.
Yeah.
You know,
The selfless energy that comes in there.
like Zara, when you cook, it's so wonderful,
Yeah.
filled with love. I appreciate it. Love you, Zara. She's the best. She's gonna make me a vegan cuckoo sometime soon.
Another thing on this is,
Yes.
I believe it says, I'm paraphrasing from what you were reading, but it says something as if you aren't there, go sit with those who know of joy. Go sit with
Take
those
alms
who
with
are
them. Yes.
right. So there's a poet from Rumi that also says this. "Dela nazd kasi benshin ke ou az del khabar darad." So
So
it
with
says
those who
that
have the word from their heart, right?
yes, they know what.
Look at
love
that. I
is.
know those high-tech words in
all
Farsi,
of those,
huh?
and so again, why I'm bringing up various things is because wisdom and truth, no matter what the perspective is underlying saying the exact same thing.
Universal. It's universal.
It's beautiful. Very, very nice.
Universal truths.
I will absolutely be reading this.
And that's what we're doing here, right? Like, one day I bring Buddhism, one day I bring Veda Vedanta, one day I bring the raw material, one day I bring this, one day you bring a teaching from Rumi, from Hafez, or whatever it may be. And what are we doing? We're bringing universal truth and wisdom to the table. They're all saying the same thing.
That's right.
You know, you could just pick one of these things and just listen to it over and over again and figure it out, or pick one teacher and learn everything. That's why some people get one guru and that's all they need, right? But all we're doing is looking at different people who have gotten it. They got it.
Yeah.
They got it. They got in touch with intelligent infinity. They removed themselves from the equation and became one with the creator, and they're expressing those things, and we're picking up on them and doing our best we can to amalgamate those into our
That's right.
lives. That's it.
Right.
That's all we're doing.
Beautiful.
Okay. Now let's go. And something I wrote here is that a person who understands this can transform a mundane task to an opportunity for self-expression and contribution. Right there.
Just love it.
All right. Good. How are we doing so far on the journey? Everybody's good? Peanuts? We got peanuts and orange juice, or what are we looking for? Tomato juice? What do we got? What are we looking for here now? Make a comment. At this point in the journey, what are you looking for? You want to stretch your feet? You want to stand up? You can take your seatbelt off now and roam around the cabin. We're going to head to section 3. Reason, passion, pain, self-knowledge. Okay? One of the most resonating parts of the prophet is Gibran's discourse on reason and passion. He explains that reason and passion are not opposing forces, but rather two wings of the soul. He writes, "Your soul is oftentimes a battlefield, upon which your reason and your judgment wage war against your passion and your appetite." I'll read that again. Your soul is oftentimes a battlefield, upon which your reason and your judgment wage war against your passion and your appetite. With that, I could be the peacemaker in your soul, that I might turn the discord and the rivalry of your elements into oneness and melody. But how shall I, unless you yourself be also the peacemakers, nay, the lovers of all your elements? Your reasons and your passions are the rudder and the sails of your seafaring soul. If either your sails or your rudder be broken, you can but toss and drift, or else be held at a standstill in mid-sea. For reason, ruling alone, is a force confining, and passion unattended is a flame that burns down its own destruction. Therefore, let your soul exalt your reason to the height of passion, that it may sing, and let it direct your passion with reason, that your passion may live through its own daily resurrection, and like the phoenix rise above its ashes. Wow.
Beautiful.
I mean, is that not amazing?
That's really beautiful.
That's
really beautiful.
Let's just kick off some things. Love and wisdom, 4th and 5th chakra, need to work together. If you have too much love without wisdom, you're naive and you can burn down everything.
That's right.
Right? If you have too much wisdom and you don't have love, then you can control and dominate everything. It needs a marriage of 4 or 5. Chakras 4 and 5 need to be married together. It's love and wisdom. I mean, that's a huge takeaway from this. And having that love and wisdom allows you to discern, right? It allows you to discern how to use your love in a way that's best, to be in unison and in harmony with the universe and the Creator.
Right. That's right. That's absolutely right. Beautiful. There's not much to add to that. It's about balance. Those balances are extraordinarily, again, even on this level, I hesitate to call it love, but it is the vibration of that getting there. Here. Not there. Not at 0, but here. That is the energy of love in motion that is really occurring here.
Can you fill my cup with some water, please?
Really? Yeah. You want, it is very important because there is a level of naivety that comes that way. That needs to come. Not that love is not naive. Again, I want to be really clear that this is talking about here, in time and space, in this universe. This is what that's resonating. Beautiful. I don't think there's much. It's so simply written and so profound that there is not a whole lot to discuss about it.
Heading on to pain. Gibran speaks of pain as not something to avoid, but as a transformative force. He writes, "Much of your pain is self-chosen. It is the bitter potion by which the physician within you heals your sick self. Therefore, trust the physician and drink his remedy in silence and tranquility. For his hand, though heavy and hard, is guided by the tender hand of the unseen. And the cup he brings, though it burns your lips, has been fashioned of the clay which the potter has moistened with his own sacred tears."
Beautiful.
I mean,
It's
come
just
on.
so
How
beautiful.
good is that?
Yeah, it's
right?
so beautiful.
I'll hit it again because it's so short. Much of your pain is self-chosen. Okay, let's just start there. Much of your pain is self-chosen. What does that mean? You created your life. You created it by your thoughts, your words, your deeds. Those things have created what's in front of you, right? Some call it karma. Some call it chain reaction. Whatever you want to call it, you did these things, and now the result is here. Cause and effect. All right? And if it's pain, you chose it because you're responsible for your life.
That's right.
Right? It's the bitter potion by which the physician within you heals your sick self. And what does that mean? It means that that thing has to come forward so you can learn the lesson, so you don't do that same act that brought forward what you didn't like.
That's right.
It's so clear,
right.
right?
Yes.
Therefore, you have to trust the physician. Trust the creator that he's bringing this forward to you.
Yes.
Why am I getting this crap sandwich? Well,
right.
you made it.
That's right.
And you got to eat it so that you never make that crap sandwich again.
Yes.
So you trust the chef that he brought this circumstance to your life because it's what you needed, and it's exactly what you needed, or else it wouldn't have come this way, for you to face what you need to face so that you can change what you need to change so that you can not have that sandwich again.
That's right.
I mean, is that clear or what?
And but
Thank you.
sometimes we need those lessons over and over again. I wouldn't say need. Sometimes we resist, and therefore
We don't
those
take the
lessons
lesson right.
come, and they get bigger, and they get louder, and they get more, and they can become literally life-ending.
But what I love is that it's brought with love. If you read this carefully, he's saying that
100%.
it's brought with love. It's not like the punishment is there like to harm you. It's there to teach you, and that teaching, that intelligence, is divine.
100%. It is only. Here's an example I use all the time. The first relationship that you had, the first breakup that you had.
Nice. I like it.
The first one that you had, right? Devastating, most likely. What happens? You are in hurt, you are in pain, you are in asking why, what? It might take you 4 weeks, it might take you 4 months, it might take you 4 years, and it might take you 4 decades.
4 lifetimes.
But at some point you go, oh, I see why that happened. Guess what? The event was exactly the same event. The only thing that has shifted is your perspective, your enlightenment, and your consciousness. Meaning that thing, that breakup in this instance, was never bad or painful. It was you that wasn't open to it. That's it. Nothing else.
Right.
Very nice. I'm bringing poetry into this because it so resides on those levels too. There's another poem that says in Farsi, it says Hakimim Tabibim ze Baghdad Rasidim. And what this is saying, Hakim and Tabib, means that I am a healer. We are healers. And it says that we, and at the end of it, it says that we have reached Baghdad. And Baghdad, the real meaning of that is the city of love. We have reached there because we have become healers, because we have become sovereign of our own energy. And what later on it says we actually go and we try to find the dead and we buy them over. We want them. Why? Because we bring them back to life through love, through healing. And the power of this, what Leonard is talking about, is not that life is external. It's not that somebody is bringing healing to you. It is you bringing it to you.
Yeah, of course.
All you need to be is open. All you need to be is receptive to it and give that energy of reflection.
The physician within you.
Exactly.
Your pain is self-chosen. It is the bitter potion by which the physician within you heals your sick self.
Exactly.
Therefore, trust the physician.
Yes.
And drink his remedy in silence and tranquility.
Yes.
For his hand, though heavy and hard, is guided by the tender hand of the unseen. What's the unseen? The Creator, infinite.
Beautiful.
And the cup he brings, though it burns your lips, has been fashioned of the clay which the potter has moistened with his own sacred tears.
Beautiful.
Even the potter, the person who made this effect, which you are the cause of, it's not like he wants to hurt you there.
Yes.
He's making it with his own tears. I mean, it's so beautiful. This is
It's
poetry
really
right
beautiful.
here,
It is. It really is.
All right. We doing good? The ride's going well?
Beautiful.
Okay. Smooth sailing from here on out. We're heading into self-knowledge. Gibran emphasizes the need for introspection and the quest for understanding oneself. He affirms, "Your hearts know in silence the secrets of the day and the nights. The hidden wellspring of your soul must needs rise and murmuring into the sea, and the treasure of your infinite depths would be revealed to your eyes. But let there be no scales to weigh your unknown treasure, and seek not the depths of your knowledge with staff or sounding line, for self is sea boundless and measureless.
Beautiful. There's really, I mean, it's just so directly and beautifully written that there's not a whole lot to say.
It invites
Right.
us to cultivate a deeper relationship with ourselves, be perceptive to the wisdom that emerges from within. Further, it touches on the infinite self within you, the God self, the one who has infinite worth, the true you, the Zen, the Genren, the man without rank, as Lao Tzu would say, or the guru within, the Sadguru, or just truly your true essence. All right, heading on to teaching, friendship, good, evil, and prayer. I know this is getting to be a long ride, guys, but it's so good. I mean, I don't want to cut it off,
Yeah.
All right. Teachings about, let's start with friendship. Actually, let's start with teaching. He says, no man can reveal to you aught but that which already lies half asleep in the dawning of your knowledge. The teacher who walks in the shadows of the temple among his followers gives not of his wisdom, but rather of his faith and his lovingness. If he is indeed wise, he does not bid you to enter the house of wisdom, but rather leads you to the threshold of your own mind.
Beautiful.
You have everything within you that you need to do what you need to do and to know what you need to know. All that someone can do is open the door for you to walk through and see that.
Beautiful.
That's all we're doing here. We can't tell you, here's this wisdom. Even though we're trying, at the end of the day, it has to resonate within yourself for it to make a difference.
Yes.
There was a movie, okay, and I'll try to get the name for you guys, and it was kind of a silly documentary, but it was actually very nice in a way. It was a guy who went to India in search of a guru, and he spent years there trying to find a guru, and he found a lot of scamsters and people that were like, I'm a guru, and they took money and they didn't provide anything.
All the way.
He came back here. I think he was in Arizona or New Mexico. He moved to this place. He got an Airbnb. He had a publicist, and he wrote, Guru coming to town. Come be your guru, this, that. The guy got people from the street. They paid money, all this kind of stuff. And all he kept saying is, within you, you know. Love one another. Within you, you already know that. You already know this. Everything he would say, he'd say, within you, you know it yourself. Okay? He did this for, I'm going to spoiler alert. He did this for the 3-month time. He got memberships, everything. People would come every day and do yoga, and he would give these speeches. And at the end of 3 months, he had an accent and everything. And after the end of 3 months, he came forward and he said, it was a special culmination that he's going back home. He came and he spoke in clear, plain English and said, I'm refunding all your money. And I'm not a guru. All the things you did within yourself. I told you the whole time you had it within yourself.
Beautiful.
And I'm leaving. And it was actually very brilliant what he did. And a few people were pissed off and left. And a few people said it didn't matter. The experience was great and everything was within myself the whole time. And he just kept saying that. And I found it within myself and I appreciated it.
That's right. That's the real prophet, by the way. That's the real prophet. That's the real one.
Well, the book is called The Prophet. And
Yeah.
he did say that. So there you go.
Anyone tells you that they know the way and that is the only way, run the opposite
Exactly. As soon as they say it's the only way.
way. Adios.
Yep. All right. Heading to wisdom on friendship. Okay. He paints a comforting shelter, in my opinion. Your friend, he says, your friend is your needs answered. He is your field which you sow with love and reap with thanksgiving. And he is your board and your fireside. For you come to him with your hunger and you seek him for peace. When your friend speaks his mind, you fear not the nay in your own mind, nor do you withhold the a. And when he is silent, your heart ceases not to listen to his heart. For without words, in friendship, all thoughts, all desires, all expectations are born and shared with joy that is unclaimed. When you part from your friend, you grieve not, for that which you love most in him may be clearer in his absence, as the mountain to the climber is clearer from the plain.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That is the merging of two as well. That is the reflectivity of which communication as we know it is not needed. It just resonates at a vibrational level.
It's the unspoken bond.
That's right.
It's the unspoken bond of mutual comfort
Exactly.
and fulfillment of our emotional needs.
That's exactly right.
You know, we all have friends like that.
Yes. True friends.
And it will take, sometimes you don't talk for 6 months, you pick up the phone and they're right there with you.
And the reason that works is because it's truly timeless. A vibration is a vibration. That is what it is. You fall into it and it's just there.
I mean, I know you do. I have it as well. I have friends I haven't talked to, and I've talked to 3 times this year. And if I call them and I say, I need you to pick me up from San Diego, I'm stranded.
No questions asked.
There are no questions asked. They're coming.
Yeah. No questions asked.
Yeah. Because they know who they are and you know who they are.
That's right. Selflessness.
Heading to good and evil. Gibran writes, of good in you I can speak, but not for the evil. For what is evil but good tortured by its own hunger and thirst? Verily, when good is hungry, it seeks food even in dark caves, and when it thirsts, it drinks even of dead waters.
But I mean, it's
short and to the point.
Some of it is so direct. It's you just absorb the words.
I mean, what I wrote here is that it highlights that in the end we're all made from love, and go back to the source, which is love.
That's right.
He suggests that these opposing forces reside within us. It's our challenge to reconcile and learn from them.
Bring the duality into Trinity.
There was a movie called, man, I'm horrible with movie names. There was a movie with Russell Crowe, I'll start there, about Noah's Ark. I mean, look up, if you're interested, you can look up Noah's Ark, put Russell Crowe, it'll tell you what it is. The Ark, I think it's called, or something like that. But he has this flashback, right? He basically has, Noah is separating himself from all the crazy people, so to speak, that are evil, and he's taking him, his family, and 2 of each animal on this boat and leaving all these people because a flood is going to wash away these bad people to start over, right? And he has this dream where he's chasing his son away from the sacred place of the boat to where all the crazy, let's say, evil people are. And when he chases his son into that place, his eyes connect with someone else, and he looks at that evil person, and that evil person is him. Very powerful imagery in the movie.
Awesome.
And he sees, it's a breaking point for him, because he sees himself in that person, that he is also that person.
That's right.
It's big.
It's really big. That's how you start to integrate. That's the only way you can integrate. It's not by seeing an opposite. It is by seeing it within you and resolving it. That is integration. There is nothing else. If it's still external, then it's an illusion.
Heading to prayer. Gibran's view on prayer brings a beautiful perspective, in my opinion. He encourages us to view prayer as not merely an act of asking, but a broader communion with the divine. He says, for what is prayer but the expansion of yourself into the living ether? What is prayer but the expansion of yourself into the living ether? He says, I cannot teach you how to pray in words. God listens not to your words, save when he himself utters them through your lips. And I cannot teach you the prayer of the seas and the forests and the mountains. But you who are born of the mountains and the forests and the seas can find their prayer in your heart. And if you but listen in the stillness of the night, you shall hear them saying in silence, Our God, who art our winged self, it is thy will in us that willeth. It is thy desire in us that desireth. It is thy urge in us that would turn our nights, which are thine, into days, which are thine also. We cannot ask thee for aught, for thou knowest our needs before they are born in us. Thou art our need, and in giving us more of thyself, thou art givest us all.
Beautiful. It's just really clear and just awesome. How can you ask something of life when life is the source? It is such a ludicrous statement. So prayer really becomes a vibration that you connect to, and it is not spoken. There is no desire in it. It just is. How are you gonna go to your creator self and say, hey, creator self, do you know what I think I want to create? It is the creator. How would you be telling it? And by the way, there is no telling it because you're speaking to yourself. So fall into that vibration.
Right.
Trees are in that vibration.
So
Rivers are in that vibration.
Mhm.
That's it. It is. It's the fabric of life.
So that's one level of it, and that's a very high level of it, and that's fantastic. And on different levels, there's different ways of doing it too. And some of the things he describes here, which I like, is that, well, first, let me do a brief story where I was able to see that we're talking about very clearly. My uncle is someone who's very, very spiritual and he's a yogi for basically his whole life. I mean, an incredible person that studied all this stuff deeply that we're talking about. I remember praying with him a while back, and I'm going through it all. May God, help these people see the light. May He send love to their hearts. May all be well. May this, may that. I'm going through the whole thing, and then I finish and I say, it's his turn, and he says something very simple like, "May I be a tool for the Creator to carry out His will." And it was like that simple. And I, Om Tat Sat, so it is. We move on, and I go home at night, and I'm like, man, it's so beautiful. He just basically said, all I want to do is carry out your will. All I want to do is get out of the way, less of me, more of thee, and just carry out your will onto the world. Whatever you want, I'm an instrument for you to carry out.
Yeah.
I have nothing in me
right.
that I'm requesting. It's
That's
all
right.
for the will of the Creator. And that's what it's talking about here. It's saying that basically.
Yeah.
Get out of the way. How do you know what you want for yourself when it's already determined by the Creator? Get out of the way. Let thou art, whatever you want to talk, these funny words that they use, these old school colloquial words, thine self, out of the way, and allow the Creator to come through you and
right.
do what it needs to be done.
Yeah. It's that, remember a few weeks ago, I was talking about the master samurai sword maker. Make that sword. Make that sword where it is as if it does not exist. It is so in oneness with the flow of life that the paper doesn't touch it to split. It literally moves past it because it's almost as if it's not there.
Right. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
So heading on to the last section, I know it's been a while. You guys are still on the ride with us, so we thank you.
All the way. Let's do this.
The prophet's farewell. So now the prophet prepares to leave Orphalese, and he gives a farewell offering of words as a powerful reflection of his teachings. It echoes the cyclicalness of nature, in my opinion, and it highlights the acceptance of change and the inevitable movement of time. He says, "The day has ended. It is closing upon us, even as the water lily upon its own tomorrow. What was given to us here we shall keep, and if it suffices not, then again we must come together, and together stretch our hands unto the giver. Forget not that I shall come back to you. A little while, and my longing shall gather dust and form another body. A little while, a moment of rest upon the wind, another woman shall bear me. Farewell to you and the youth I have spent with you. It was but yesterday we met in a dream. You have sung to me in my aloneness, and I, of your longings, have built a tower in the sky. But now our sleep has fled, and our dream is over, and it is no longer dawn."
Beautiful. What do? We are the bringers of the dawn. Over and over and over and over again. Beautiful.
The farewell speaks to each one of us, reminding us that the wisdom we have gained through this teaching does not end with his departure or with the last page of this book. Instead, it is a continuous journey, a guide that we can return to again and again.
I love that. That is what it is.
So let's give it a quick summation of all the stuff I said. I'm going to read a few things here, which is just kind of a summary of what I said. It's been a while. It's been a long journey. I'm going to give it the final cap before we head out.
But the
boat parks, and we get off and we head to what's brewing.
Yes.
Okay. The beauty of the prophet lies in its universal relevance. These teachings, while rooted in an era long past, remain profoundly applicable in our lives today. Each chapter, each word invites us to have introspection, prompting us to reflect on our actions, our relationships, and our perspectives. For his Discourse on love, we learn to appreciate love as a transformative force, a feeling that doesn't seek to possess but to understand. In his teachings on marriage, we find that wisdom of individual growth within a shared journey. And when it comes to children, Gibran beautifully reminds us of the respecting their individuality and their unique path. On giving, working, joy, and sorrow, we challenge our conventional understanding. He encourages us to see work as an act of love, giving as a form of self-expression, and to embrace the duality of joy and sorrow as part of the human experience. In his views on reason and passion, pain and self-knowledge, Gibran offers a fresh perspective, viewing these not as contradictions, but as necessary elements of fulfilling life. He paints a picture of a life lived in balance, where pain can lead to growth, and self-knowledge is the cornerstone of understanding our place in the world.
Beautiful.
As we consider Gibran's wisdom on teaching and friendship, good and evil, and prayer, we are encouraged to appreciate the shared journey of learning, a solace of friendship, the inner reconciliation of good and evil, and the broader understanding of prayer as communion with the divine. And finally, in his farewell, we find a timeless message of acceptance and the cyclical nature of life, which serves as a gentle reminder of the impermanence of everything except the true deathless.
Beautiful.
And on that note, our ship has
Hello.
arrived.
Beautiful.
The dock has welcomed us, and we walk off the boat into
love
what's
that.
brewing.
It's, before we go there, I think, really nicely done. I mean, I haven't read the book, but that was really, really beautiful. Really, really well done.
Thank you. Thank you guys for listening.
It is interesting to me because right at the beginning of this, it was talking about the person spent 7 years and then came here.
7 years, and then he took the journey to the boat,
So
to the dock.
that speaks to densities of consciousness because it's moving into a new octave. The number 7 is one of the numbers of humanity because it is the Trinity that is able to move within manifestation of the 4. It's the 3 and the 4. It is the 1 and the 6. It is bringing massive complexity, which is the number 6, into a state of oneness. All of these things resonate at those levels. And when you do that,
beautiful.
you move to a new octave. And this, I know Leonard's been saying this in a funny way, but it is when you deboard, you're into the new octave. And it moves to a different state. And what's there? The same thing that's everywhere. Exploration. It's really beautiful. I just wanted to mention that. And
It's great that you brought that up.
it's fantastic. I also this is really interesting that you said this because my mom has always talked about this, and I'm realizing that she was saying his name in Farsi, and I always was like, I wonder if this is, and it is the same guy, Khalid Gibran. So it's funny because they sound really similar, but it's different. So hello, and thank you to my mom for always telling me, because I have not read this book. She always tells me about it. She always gives me little nuggets.
It's beautiful. We could definitely do a book club on it, or even a weekend.
Definitely, yeah.
Maybe we do a weekend thing on this, or
yeah.
or a day on this, because it's so good and there's so much
really
there,
beautiful. Yeah.
and there's so many levels of it.
Yeah, and thank you to my friend Raquel, by the way, for buying me this book. Synchronicities are abounding. When something like this happens so many times over and over again, and now hearing some of it, as you put it out, it's awesome.
Thank you. I'm glad
That was awesome.
we're on the voyage with me.
That was the love boat, the true love
boat.
All right, now we can actually get off the
All right,
the ship.
and we don't have to go through
Deboard.
immigration.
Yes,
There's no
we're all
immigration.
because there's nowhere else to go.
That's right.
We are on What's Brewing.
What's brewing, baby?
Yeah.
What's brewing in this world?
A few things,
Take
few
us
interesting things, relatively light this week. I want to start this week by saying the reason that we do What's Brewing is not to bring fear to you. It is to see that the illusion is playing the same games over and over again. The best thing that I've realized to say it, and this is for the time being, but it's something I've said for a really long time, is the idea of this is to be aware of the spider web, but don't fall into it. That's it. And when you see the spider web, by the way, it becomes really beautiful too. So there's no judgment to it. You just see it and you go, oh, it becomes very childish to see it. But it's important that you gain awareness of this, because as you gain awareness, the matrix in and of itself begins to dissolve. That's all it is. Awareness will melt it away. That happens.
Now, Amir said all those disclaimers. I have a feeling that the information he's going to give us is going to be pretty rough. It's like when you go there, are you sure you want to invest in this investment? The chances of you losing your money are really, really high. But it's normal. Losing your money helps you to learn. Don't worry. It's all good. Let's put it in this risky investment and see what happens. All right. Give it to us.
It's to melt it away. Well, a couple things as we started with, and by the way, I forgot this one, was that we started with weather. This week, it was written in BBC that the hottest temperature ever recorded in Europe was 48.8 degrees Celsius in Sicily in August 2021. Again, BBC states that the hottest temperature ever recorded in Europe was 48.8 degrees Celsius in August of 2021 in Sicily.
48.8, you said?
48.8. So here's the funny part. The New York Times, Sunday, June 23rd, 1935. What happens? And maybe you
That's
can do this.
119.84 degrees.
Beautiful. In Spain, it was recorded 127 degrees occurred, which
That's
is
hotter.
7 degrees in terms of Fahrenheit warmer. So here's the beauty about the internet. Here's the beauty of stuff getting documented, is that you can quickly see that this is an illusion. It's fabricated.
Another
what does
lie.
it do but to cause fear? Go look.
These people are just, the media lied so much over the past few years, and
Fear
probably
mongering.
further down the road, that it's so impossible to trust them. It's so impossible to trust them because, they lie so much, and we've caught them on so many lies. And you know what's crazy? They never want to come forward and agree.
No, of course not.
They never say our bad.
Of course not.
Because that's what tells you their agenda is.
That's right. That's absolutely right. So that's a quick one, just right then and there. Don't fall into this. Look, I'm not saying that temperatures are going up or not. Great, they might be. But
this isn't about that. This is
don't
about
be fearful about it.
This is about their integrity. The
Yes.
integrity of journalism.
Yes.
The lack thereof.
They're so conscientious when it comes to things that that Apple is so incredibly wonderful in what it does, but that the workers that assemble those iPhones, in the buildings surrounding those iPhones, I don't know if you know about this, they literally have suicide nets.
I know.
It's incredible, by the way. So next time you think, when you are recording a march for justice and peace that ends up in a riot on your iPhone that was made with slave labor, think twice.
Shots fired.
That's all. The other one, other two, really quick, by the way, we talked about predictive programming several weeks ago.
We did.
Powerful
Check out
subject.
that episode if you haven't heard that episode.
Powerful subject. This is from an advertisement about 28 years ago.
Wow.
Predictive programming. This is from TIAA-CREF. Okay? And I'll tie this because it's going to sound kind of ridiculous.
From 28 years ago.
About 28 years ago.
Okay.
It's literally a picture of a woman just kind of looking forward and like in like a dazed, kind of confused, like, oh God, what am I going to do about this? And on her face, from top to bottom, it says, they say in 30 years, a burger and fries could cost $16, a vacation, $12,500, and a basic car, $65,000. No problem. You'll eat in, you won't drive, and you won't go anywhere. Fast forward nearly 30 years later, and through massive amounts of inflation that have occurred, we are pretty much hitting every one of these.
Burgers definitely
Burger and fries.
$15-16.
I was having this conversation the other day. I didn't know this. I really genuinely didn't know this. But fast food combos apparently are like $11 to $13 now, which is mind blowing to me.
I don't know.
Mind blowing to me that that's where the cost is. Vacation, $12,500 for sure. That's happening, and a relatively basic car, $65,000. I mean, yeah, that one might be off a little bit, but it ain't that far off.
I mean, you know,
And
Amir, you drive a fancy Rolls Royce. That's like
Yeah.
half, you know, your Rolls Royce is 2-3 times the price. But
yeah.
for the commoner, they're spending 30-40 grand.
3 times the price. It's 100 times the price. No, it's a one of a kind.
Talking about Corniche.
But
yeah, it's just them doing the job of letting you know, like, this is where we're headed. They know what inflation.
Yeah.
Why crypto is so exciting for many people. Is if you read the white paper on Bitcoin and these kind of things, they talk about removing inflation from the money and who's in charge of inflation. You know, if you do dig down that hole,
The banks.
that's when you'll really see how it all is all set up. So removing them from the equation allows for the money to be, you know, not tainted by them and taken by them through that inflationary act. So they pretty much know what they're going to do. So it's not a hard calculation for them.
100%.
30 years from now, they know what it's going to be at because they just add their inflation to it, and, you know, with the range, standard deviation, and now they know what the dollar is going to be worth in 30 years.
That's right. Have you and I'm quickly looking for his name because I forgot it. G. Edward Griffin. Have you listened to his talk about the creature from Jekyll Island?
Yes, I have. It's
Amazing.
a long time ago. Yes.
Yeah, it's beautiful. If you haven't, that's amazing. Maybe we'll link that too. In this, it's awesome. The creature from Jekyll Island, and the reason it talks about that, it is the formation of the Federal Reserve System, which is not federal. There are no reserves, and there is no systems. It's literally banks deciding what's going to happen for you.
There's so much. That's a rabbit hole you could go down. There's tons of books. I mean,
it's an awesome thing to go.
I mean, if it's big, I never mind.
And
yes.
And the other thing that he says about this, by the way, he says that something that has true value, there is no inflation to it. So he says, if you take an ounce of gold in Roman times would have bought you a beautiful headdress, a beautiful tunic, for lack of or robe that they wore, and an incredible set of sandals. And he says today, if you have an ounce of gold, it'll buy you a tremendously amazing suit, a wonderful shirt, a tie, socks, and great shoes. And he says, why hasn't that changed?
And if you go to Thailand, you can buy 8 of them for that piece of gold.
But the thing is, why hasn't that changed? Is because there is no inflation with gold. It is a true currency. It remains what it is. Money, on the other hand, it's an illusion. So is gold, but you get the idea. When something has true value, it doesn't.
All
last little piece. This one is probably the most profound and probably a little bit more of the be very aware. Be very aware. A Nebraska teen. This just occurred, July 20th. A Nebraska teen who used pills to end pregnancy gets 90 days in jail. Up or down, we all know Roe v. Wade was just overturned earlier this year. By the way, quick tangent off of that. One of the biggest things with Roe v. Wade that is gone is the potential of information now being legally disclosed in any which way, shape, or form, including medical and including any protective rights, any protected information that you have. If you don't know that, go do the research. This is not about abortion. This is about information. Why does that relate to this? A teenager in Nebraska is being jailed for 3 months for aborting her baby, for taking pills that would abort her baby. How? How did they find out about this? The 19-year-old private messages her mom on Meta and says, "Mom, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. I'm with this situation, and this is how I'm going to resolve this problem because I don't have access to this." Think about this. A private message between two individuals.
It's not private.
So what happens? Meta, a.k.a. Facebook, hands over the message to police, and the police come and arrest her. Guess what that means? let's do a quick little logical reasoning here in a way. Or just let's call it pure reasoning, just deductive reasoning on this. Nothing else, no judgment. Facebook is literally an arm of the police.
I mean, you could take it up a notch even from that.
And who is the police in alignment with?
And further all the way.
And all the way up. So just be wary of this stuff.
Yeah,
This is incredible.
Have you seen the movie Casino?
Yeah.
Remember when he was walking around talking with a toothpick in his mouth, and he's like, and they got the guys with the cameras. It's like that.
That's right.
On the internet, it's
That's
like
right.
that now.
That's right.
You know, I mean, remember that scene? He's walking. Joe Pesci is walking outside. He's covering his mouth. He's got a toothpick in his hand. He's talking to some guy like this, and there's like 7 people with cameras and voice recorders and lip readers and everything, and they're watching him in every place he goes because they want to get the information. And he's talking like this. It's like that's the game on the internet. Everywhere you go, they're like.
That's right. That's right. This should be mind blowing. So how do you? The question becomes, well, what do you do? What am I supposed to do?
Don't message anyone through these. Don't message.
Don't use them. Don't use the platforms.
Talk in person with people. I'm not condoning this or that. I'm just saying that if you want to remain private, these things are not. These things, phones, whatever, they're not private. No matter what it says, you know, end encryption, this and that. It ain't private.
No. So, anyways, just that one. That one is the biggest one of the spider webs. Don't fall into it. There's no fear to be there. It's just, look, know what you're doing. Move with enlightenment. Move with light. This is what you're going to do. This is how it works. So, anyways, let's move to spill the beans here. Our beans will be spilled.
That was a real foul brew, by the way.
I love this, by the way. The chicory thing.
That's
I'm
good.
doing this every week.
Okay, great.
I'm doing this every week.
Nice.
I love it.
You don't like that? You don't like it? You just like the smell of it? Is that what you said earlier?
No, the taste was great too. The smell was incredible. It was let's do a review of last week. So I'm gonna bring up the topic. Leonard, I'll let you go first on it. But what we did last week as the vibration and topic was all about love, capital L, the real big true love. It was that this week, whatever you do, start with love. Or the vibration of love, meaning that any action that you may have, you move with love, or you go truly into the vibration of love and see what happens from there. How'd it work for you? Any shares, thoughts?
Yeah, it was a couple moments where I had frustration, that I had some frustration about, and going to that place and being like, you know, am I going to react to the stimulus? Is my response to the stimulus going to be out of anger, or is it going to be out of love? Let me go to a place of love. Let me try to go to a place of love and make a response that is loving rather than with anger. And of course, you know, taking that second to realize that and switch that and be mindful and observant in that moment instead of being reactive allows for a better result.
Beautiful. I love that. It moves differently. I'll share with you kind of a 3-phase.
Yeah, the people want to know, Amir, how did it go for you?
It was, this one was really powerful for me because it moved in 3 phases. The first thing that happened for me is that it allowed me a space of reflection, and then it would move literally into love. And I was acting from that vibration. Then I pulled back because I really did this one kind of in a lot of detail. The second thing that occurred, which was so immensely powerful, is that as I went to the vibration of love, I realized that I would even forget what it was about. It almost became non-existent, the thing. And so there was no action for me to take. It melted away.
Yes.
That was phase 2 for me. And I was so extremely happy about that. What phase 3 brought for me that was just purely in awe was that not only now am I in the vibration of love, not only now is there no action that is taken on my end. And I want to be really clear before I expand on this. Love does not mean no action. It does not mean indifference. It has nothing to do with those, to be very, very clear. Anyways, to go back, not only did I not want to do any action on it because I was so deeply in the vibration, the third thing that happened for me, third phase, if you want to call it, was that I would realize that the universe would immediately unfold it for me. The universe was taking the action for it.
And you got in alignment with it.
And it was just in front of me.
Right.
And it was so incredibly beautiful.
Yeah,
so
I got to practice more of this. This is great.
That 3 phase was incredible. The first one was I would move into love. I would move into the vibration of love, and I would act from that state or what I thought. And then I pushed myself. I said, well, wait a minute. I spent an entire hour talking about this. Love is not an active thing the way that we talk about it. It does not mean, it doesn't act. It just is. So phase 2 went to, it's irrelevant. The third one that was the most powerful was, again, that when you went into that isness, you literally then moved into creation. And the creation was simultaneous, meaning that I didn't even need to act. Right. My hand was here, the cup was in it.
Right.
Simultaneously.
Yeah. Because you were in harmony with the universe, so it all unfolded as it was supposed to.
Really powerful for me. This is one of those that really stuck. Really, really stuck with me. Really, really cool.
Thank you for sharing. It was really nice.
Thank you.
Shall we talk about today's task? This week's task?
Yes. What are we doing this week?
Okay. So, in the same vein, and also in unison with what we learned today from the Prophet, we're going to look for the opposite emotion. Okay? This task is called opposite emotion. When we're faced with anger, resentment, challenging thoughts, find the so-called opposite emotion and recognize that they're on the same string or scale. Just realizing this, that it's on the same spectrum, just having that awareness that it's on the same spectrum will allow, in my opinion, and you can try and see, will allow us to move away from that side of the thing. See, hot and cold are on the same temperature gauge, right? Left and right wing of the plane are on the same plane.
That's right.
So when we are faced with that thing, look for the opposite emotion. Take a deep breath and say, I'm feeling anger now. What's the opposite of anger? I'm feeling sad right now. What's the opposite of sadness? You know, could I find joy in the sadness? Could I go deep, like we talked about in the Prophet? Could I go deep into that place where that sadness is and realize that it's on the same scale and depth as happiness? That it takes this to have that hot and cold exists because that's what temperature is. There's a hot and cold.
Beautiful.
Let's practice that this week.
Beautiful. I'll use one quick language. When you are able to bring duality again into Trinity, you create.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very different thing. Remember, there's a balance that is there. The balance of the 1 and the 2 creates the 3. Once you see that these are not separate, but they are on that same plane, you now have access not only to all of it, but you have access to literally bring these 2 now together and create anew from that point.
Beautiful. Well said. Thank you.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
Please subscribe. Please like. Please share. Let us know what you thought of this episode. Let us know if this book, you've read it. It's a popular book. Have you read it before? What are your thoughts on the book? What are your thoughts on our summation of these different aspects of the book? And what do you want to see in the future? And, do you like my haircut? I got a new fade. You see how tight it is? Let me know. Write something in there for us. All right? No, my dad's like, it's too short on the sides.
Yeah.
It will grow. In a week, it'll be dark again here.
Yeah. Make that comment, Joseph.
He doesn't know where the comments are on there. On the thing. No, I'm kidding. But he hasn't left a comment, so he may not know. Anyway, thank you so much. Like, subscribe, and share. We appreciate you being on this ride with us. May all beings be well. May all be happy. May all have inner peace, inner love, inner happiness. May all receive the love and the light of the Creator. May all abide in peace and avoid the causes of suffering. Thank you for listening to The Conscious Cup. We love you all and appreciate you all. Tat, so it is.